everybody, and welcome to Sphere of Success, the podcast which looks at challenge and adversity, especially in business, and how we alchemize that to actually positive growth, development for ourselves and our businesses, but also as well when we're thriving, when we're turning obstacles into opportunities. We actually have a great thing in our personal lives where actually all of that spills over as well. And today I have the most amazing guest. Her name is Sakirat Okewole, and she is going to speak to us about how you build, how you can overcome adversity and make something very special out of it. And I'm going to read her bio now because she is a marvelous lady. She helps goal-driven individuals, entrepreneurs, and teams transform their life and business success without burnout through mental health and personal growth so that they can live healthier and happier. Her workbook, Awaken My Millionaire Mindset, is a guide to starting your personal growth journey of healing, growth, and sustainable success. I love that sustainable success. This
Yeah,
is so real.
yeah,
Shakira, thank you for coming on the show. It's
yeah.
wonderful to have you.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be with you this afternoon, Deborah. And yeah, you did mention that you love the sound of sustainable success, and which is one thing I'm really particular about. I do value sustainability. It's just not now. It's just not for now, but something that you can look forward to in the bigger picture and on the longer term.
Absolutely. And what I'd love for you to go into detail is you've mentioned without burnout.
Mm,
And this is so important because I've been through a nervous breakthrough. Many
mm,
people have gone through similar.
yeah,
You find that you're exhausted, that life becomes this heavy
yeah,
weight that you're carrying around.
yeah.
You change for your family and your friends. You become hardened and you want to give, but you just feel exhausted. So, Shakira, explain to
Absolutely.
us a little bit about how you can optimize but not burn out.
Absolutely. It's a fast-paced world where things are changing and evolving. And it looks like if you yourself don't change to catch up, you feel the fear of missing out on things. However, when you're on a journey that is intentional and quite clear, you don't then tend to walk the same journey as others because as individuals, we have our unique strengths and we have been created to create. And so the creator has not created us to suffer or to burn out or to go through adversities. It's created us for us to see how we can impact the world. But first, we must first impact ourselves before we impact others and the world. So everyone, a lot of people want to succeed and they burn out quickly or they burn out over and over again because they've really not defined what success meant to them. On this journey myself, when I looked back at what brought about my burnout, it was clear that it was the way that I defined success. So I defined success in ways that didn't really serve me and didn't really even serve people around me and doesn't even serve my dreams as well. So what I thought success would mean would be that when you have a lot of money, then you're successful. However, success can be holistic. It can be personal success, business success, financial success, parenting success. When success is not holistic, I don't find that fun because something will be missing and you start feeling a sense of incompleteness. You start feeling a sense of, not fulfilling purpose. You start feeling a sense of not having a full, wholesome meaning for your life and for your work and for your existence. And it gets to a point where you're just barely surviving. You're not thriving. You're not really living. And my popular saying or my popular mantra or reminder, so to speak, is that everybody dies, everyone dies, but not everyone truly lives. And the
Oh, hang
person,
on, hang on.
yeah,
Everyone dies, but
mhm.
everybody truly lives.
Everyone dies, but not everyone truly lives. Not
So,
everyone.
so people are going to be saying, "Well, I'm living. I
Mm,
don't understand." Can
mm.
you could you talk us through? And I love the way that you're mentioning success in terms
Yeah.
of other things apart from money. But
Mm,
how does that then align with this not truly living? What's the secret to
yeah.
truly living?
Mm. So truly living means true life is when you found your purpose, you found what makes you tick, you are self-aware of who you are and the value that you bring to the world. You're self-aware of all your gifts. You've accepted yourself and loved yourself, strength, weakness, and flaws. You no longer wait for validation for people to tell you, oh, you matter. You already know that you're enough. You found that strength, and now you're meant to serve people and you're indeed serving people with that strength. Is one thing to find yourself, to discover who am I? How do I want to serve? How do I want to support? How do I want to have a meaning for my life and even help others? And it just starts with you. So you start living when you're aware of who you are and how you serve others. You start living when you now use that awareness to create a change for you, for the people around you, and for the world at large, because we are created to serve. That is our main purpose of living. We're created to serve ourselves, to serve others. And how do you truly serve without truly accepting yourself, loving yourself, and knowing what to serve with? That is when you truly start living. When you are convinced that this is who I am, regardless of your name, your social status, or what you have materially, but by the virtue of what you hold internally, your peace, your conviction, your competence, and your confidence, and the skills that you've put together to really serve others is a combination of how you truly live and then become awesome.
This is so interesting because one of the things that I know, and I lived I lived a successful life for many
Mm,
years, and I was so miserable and I was so unhappy. You've
mm,
just touched upon here the value that we can give to the world, the value we can give to the world. You see,
mm,
I couldn't look at myself in the mirror. I didn't even like myself. I
mm,
couldn't love myself. I didn't like myself.
mm,
I found that, I didn't like the way I looked. I didn't like the way I spoke. I didn't like the way my thoughts were coming in. I didn't like my body. I didn't like my hair, didn't like my teeth, didn't like my nails. Literally, I was like this walking, I didn't like anything about me. And that had come from many years of conditioning. But
mm,
ultimately, how can you go from this state of not not knowing the miracle that you are, because we are all
mm,
miracles.
mm,
It took a
mm.
nervous breakthrough for me to get there, and I don't want people
Yeah,
to go through that. What is it that you're saying? Find this inside yourself. And I know this is difficult. It's a very big question, but
yeah,
how can you find yourself and find your purpose? Because
yeah.
people are going to go, I don't understand. I'm a mom. I'm a dad. I work.
Mm,
Isn't that me?
mm, mm. The thing is, it all starts with the will. It's the willpower for you to begin to get curious about the powers that you hold, because we all hold powers. So it's about you finding the will. It's about you strengthening that will. Like, I really want to know more. Get curious. I really want to know who I am. I really want to get to know what my powers are. And it's all been there. When God created us, the moment we're created, He's already also created who we're meant to be, how we're meant to explore life and enjoy life and just use ourselves to support the environment out there. So it all starts from the curiosity, the will to really find out about yourself. And that curiosity doesn't really start naturally. Sometimes adversity drives it. It opens you up to starting to ask those big questions. Like in my own case, I didn't start asking this big question because it's a big question. When you start getting big questions, you start getting big answers. And our results, our successes in the kind of questions, the quality and the size of questions that we ask ourselves and people out there really determines how successful we then become. So for you to start asking yourself those big questions, sometimes adversities drive it. Because when you sometimes struggles drives it, sometimes we are stuck, it also drives it. So in my own case, it was a case of burning out first, I burnt out and I ended up in the psychiatric hospital because I had general anxiety disorder and depression, insomnia, which stemmed from working too hard and trying too much, which of course came from the belief I brought from childhood into adulthood. That success meant you have to be in multiple businesses and you have to show up for yourself and you have to show the world what you have. All of those definitions, like you said, the conditioning of how I thought success meant or was defined was what was pushing me to taking actions until I burnt out. And the burnout was very tough because the impact was not only for me, it was on my husband, was on my children, on my work, on my businesses, on my relationships, my friend, my family. A lot of people felt it when I burnt out. That's how it happens. When you burn out, it's just not you that is impacted. A lot of people is slowed down. A lot of things are affected. And so the burnout is just not for you. Everyone's burning out around you. So you really want to think, why do I want to burn out? Why do I want to go that bad? You want to really think. But for my own case, that burnout was an awakening for me. Because when I came out and I recovered and was discharged from the psychiatric home, the questions started coming. The willpower of, if I had died, have I truly lived? If I had died during that incident, that was the question that kept coming in my mind.
So Shakira, Shakira, I'd love to ask you now. It sounded like this is very similar to me in that sense, and I'm sure people are going, I can identify with this. So this is why I want to go through this in a little bit more detail for people.
Yes,
Is it sounded like before the burnout, you were one busy lady. You were doing this, you were doing that, you were juggling this, you were juggling that, family life, business, social life, church, all everything together, right?
absolutely.
So wouldn't you say then people go, yeah, but that's what living life is all about. It's like
Mm,
100 miles an hour, stressed out of your brain because basically you trying to do too much for others. But if you this is what living a full life is. So how then can you come around and go, well, actually,
yeah,
it's not like that?
powerful question, very powerful. Um, Conscious living is different from just living. When you leave, you just go. You don't have measure, you can't pause, you can't stop, you can't reflect. You just keep going, isn't it? But when you consciously leave, you have tracks, you have targets, you have measure, you have awareness of what you should do and how you should do things, of when to slow down and when to reset. So it's about conscious living, not just about living. Remember, I said the other time that everyone would die, but not everyone truly live.
Yeah.
If you do not have that definition of what holistic life, conscious living truly means, whereby you understand yourself, your body, your mind, your soul, and your spirit, and you understand the assignment that has been placed on you to give out there, and you understand when the time for your own personal self is, and the time for your family, and the time for business, and the time for finances. When you understand that timing for each area of your life, that's when you're truly thriving. When you have a definition, a vision, a goal set for each of the areas of your life, and you're taking intentional action to meet these goals, and you're measuring and re-strategizing, and letting go of what's not serving you, and showing up for things that really matters to you and for your world, for your dream. That is when you're truly thriving. That is when you're truly living.
Ah, you see, yeah, now you've mentioned something here. The curious, that was what
Mm,
I was going to come back to
mm,
you as well.
mm.
What does, and you mentioned about asking big questions.
Yeah, yeah,
So, you know what I didn't want to face, and I'm speaking for myself because there's only the person, but somebody might
yeah,
resonate with me. So
yeah,
everybody's different. So just talking about this personally,
yeah.
I didn't want to ask the big questions because I was
Mm,
frightened of the answers.
mm,
And I was frightened of actually, oddly enough,
mm.
breaking down, not being
Yeah,
able to cope by voluntarily facing my biggest fears,
yeah,
because I was like, no, I can't do that. Otherwise, it will all just go.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it went like that. And then I had to ask the questions. But
Mm,
with this curiosity, what does that curiosity do? What does then did it move and
mm.
how does it help you get from point A to point B?
Yeah. So with curiosity, like I said, it comes gradually. Sometimes it comes with adversities. It comes with when you're faced with problems, and then you begin to ask questions. However, the way we should be living our life is with curiosity. What's the next right move for me?
Okay, so
What can
just
I do?
to, yeah,
Yeah,
so to interrupt because you've mentioned something really important here.
yeah,
And this is what this podcast is all about, is
mm,
alchemizing challenge and adversity into
yeah,
positivity.
yeah.
Why is it, do you think, that as human beings, we have to have this adversity, this challenge, which almost sometimes feels insurmountable?
That is growth. That is growth, Deborah. That
Okay.
is growth. Deborah, look at a child. Look at a little child. Before they start walking, they'll crawl. It's not really easy. They're posing some stress on their back. Then, as a child, then we begin to walk. And even when we're walking, we're still tripping and falling. And then we get up again because we know that we can do it because we're not overthinking it. But as an adult, our frontal cortex, our brain is not very developed. Now segregate problems from solutions. And then we're scared to wanting to embrace the problems. We're scared to wanting to mend with the problems. We're scared of what could come out of it. It's the brain telling us to overthink and to overprocess. Whereby, if you approach life as a childlike mindset, where you're just curious of, I'm going for it. I don't really care what other people think. Yes, I fail, but I will get up and I will try again. And you're curious of what does the next right move look like. The curiosity comes when we begin to allow our inner child to push us, to let us embrace the new future rather than thinking of what's behind or what do I stand to lose or what's going to hold me back. The curiosity is just a very phenomenal. And like I said, it does come with adversities. Adversities are good. It lets us see the powers that we have. Because you facing up and confronting those curiosity, you'll be amazed that did I really go through these? I'm so powerful. And if I had done this before, then I can do it again. It reminds you of the past that you carry, isn't it? So curiosity is really good. Adversity is really good. That's where growth is, actually. And that is where results and success comes from. Because if you're able to go through and you're successful, you feel more confident in yourself that you can do this, whether it is in your health area or it is in your financial area or business life, you feel like, oh, I can do this. For instance, in business, I'm in business as well. And in business, when I help people get results, whether I start their business for them or help them with their personal development, and they shine better and brighter, and they send me those beautiful testimonials, it gives me palms and gives me gas. And I'm just excited that, oh, I helped them achieve this. That is some confidence, that's some beauty. And it looked like it would be rough if you wanted to do some things. But when you approach it with a mindset, with a childlike mindset of not overthinking things, because a child doesn't overthink, they just do things believing that they can do it. So impulsivity can be very good at that point, a childlike impulsivity, just going through like a child and just allowing yourself to go through and just, do what you need to do without over processing and allow the solution to come on. And when you fail, it's your time to learn, not for you to hold on like a failure. It's a time to learn what did not work. How can I retrace my steps? What can I readjust? How can I re-strategize? It's all about curiosity rather than complaining or whining or slowing ourselves down. Curiosity allows you to move forward.
You see, this is fabulous. You've mentioned so many key things, and I'd just like to recap when you're talking about the childlike mind.
Mm.
And sometimes as adults forget how we should play as
Yeah.
adults, as children. But in the Bible, it says only the children, the people who are childlike, should
Mm.
enter the kingdom of heaven, be in my kingdom. And
Mm.
this is about, and people think, oh, it's how do you be a child? Well, actually, it's that curiosity, that childlike curiosity, where we go back and we are in that state of possibility.
Yeah.
And the other thing that you've mentioned is moving towards something that perhaps is a little bit frightening. What I've found, and I think there's a psychological thing as well, and you're probably there more with than I am, so you might want to sort of help me along with this, is when we face our fears voluntarily,
Mm.
when we move forward towards our thing that we are frightened of,
Mm.
we're not necessarily getting away the fear, but our courage, our bravery increases.
Absolutely.
And as you said, that growth element of it, that
Mm.
when we are more courageous, when we are more unafraid in that sense, it might mean that we never really like the thing that we're afraid of, but we're
Yeah.
not going to let it overcome us and stop us
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
from doing certain things. And this is why when you're talking about children and thinking, I can do this, a lot of kids at that stage, the younger you are, you haven't had people tell you, oh, you can't do that.
True.
Or you're not that kind of person, or we're not that kind of family that does X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
So these things, people want to put people into nice little boxes to protect them so that
Yeah.
they don't hurt themselves and they don't go into areas where they're thinking, I don't know, it's like the fear of the unknown. So
Yeah.
moms and dads want to protect their children.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when that goes too far and it's like, I can't, before you've even tried, that
Mm.
curiosity is something
Yeah.
where embracing that unknown.
Absolutely, Barbara. Absolutely.
I'd love you to go into a little bit more detail. And the last thing is you mentioned about failure and
Mm.
failing, as I take this, failing quickly and effectively to move on and learn and implement something
Mm.
different. But I would love the audience to listen to this. Failure is just a word. We attach negative connotation to failure.
Exactly.
We attach negative connotation to words like crisis, failure,
Mm.
because that's always perceived as negative. However,
Mm.
success doesn't need to be positive. How many young actors have achieved massive success and then died of drugs overdoses? Or
Yeah.
they have
Yeah.
depression and mental illness and want to commit suicide. Success isn't always the
The
in mental
glam
terms.
picture. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd love you to go. I know I've given a lot there
Mm.
to
Mm.
Sakirat of what it
Mm.
is, but if you could talk about this, how we voluntarily move towards things that are off-putting, etc.,
Yeah.
to grow. I'd love you to talk a bit about that in
Yeah.
more detail.
The thing with success, there's a lot of things you've said there, and there's a lot of things coming up in my mind, and I hope that I can, use my conversation right now to then look into everything that you've said. But I want to go back to what you said about, what success has been painted, how success has been painted, and failure, how it's also been negatively connotated, as you used the word over there. It's a case of seeing failure as something negative, isn't it?
Mm,
However, everything is a perception, how we perceive things. So, like you said, when I embraced personal growth, I started to see that there is nothing in failing. So it's about embracing a new mindset. When I had a mindset shift of how to approach life, I started saying it was okay to fail. I don't hide anything. I don't Before I would hide a lot of things, or I wouldn't even show up as much as I should because I had criticized myself internally.
mm,
And so, because I'm doing that, why do I then expect people not to criticize me? Because it's an energy, isn't it? It's what I hold in there that the universe sends back to me. You get more of what you hold inside. So, if you're still thinking of yourself as a failure, or you made a move and it didn't work out, and you hold it onto your mind that, oh, I am now a failure, why not reframe the sentence? I failed at getting that client. That is the sentence. Doesn't mean I am a failure. I failed at showing up at that meeting. Doesn't mean you're then a failure in all other areas of your life. It was just an instance. So we just need to get into the habit of reframing the sentence and keeping it to where it belongs. So you failed and maybe not telling or giving the right response at that instance doesn't mean you wouldn't give the right answer at another instance. So it was just peculiar to that instance. So it's a matter of embracing. See, when you embrace personal development, one of the things that would happen to you is positive mental attitude. The way that you think, your thought process changes, and the way that you respond to situation changes. So I don't see myself as failure as I used to. And then that change now makes me show up more confidently. I don't really care what you think. If I don't see myself as a failure, your opinion don't really count. And that's one thing. And another thing is the way that I now see things, the way that I feel people supporting me was different from the way that I used to see it before.
mm.
So I would really focus on those that are criticizing me before rather than those that are supporting me. But when I embrace personal development, I start to see more of those that are supporting me. I don't even resonate or relate to people who are not supporting me because I have had the change of mind and I have perceived that only those that support me comes to me. So I don't then see those that are not supportive of me. So it starts with yourself to embrace failure as a learning process. The question that should come around that time is reflection. What do I need to learn? Why didn't I get my desired outcome? What can change? And sometimes it's about us. It's about giving ourselves that authenticity to hold on to the truth. And that can be really, really uncomfortable. That can be so it takes bravery to be authentic, to say, you know what, I didn't do the right thing. I should have done it like this. I should have spoken to that person. I should have taken this action. It takes authenticity to be true to ourselves, but it's the best thing we can do for ourselves. It's the best thing.
Mm.
And you also did mention about, some of these things that come from childhood, the way we are raised, the parenting. And I just want to tell you, parents out there, you are raising the world. So you have to do a lot of personal development yourself. The world is in your hands. And you can
Mm.
only give what you have in yourself. If you have positive thinking, if you have personal development, if you have authenticity, that is what you're passing on to your child and to other children and to other people you're supporting. And as parents, I want to encourage us to keep shining a light on our own self and allow ourselves to see what needs to change. Because when the change happens for you, it will impact the world. Remember, every human being have an opportunity to relate with about 68,000 people in their lifetime. So imagine if you, Deborah, if I, Shakira, have an opportunity to interact with at least 68,000 people before I leave, what do they then experience when they encounter us? We need to be curious about that. When people encounter you, when people experience you, what do they experience? Is it positivity? Do you bring a change? Do you spark resolution? Do you spark positivity? Do you support? What do they hold away when you're no longer there? And so this is a powerful conversation that we can keep having. I'm very,
Well, this
very,
is, I didn't know 68,000 people, but the thing is, again, with the
yeah,
internet and all of this online, this is
yeah,
going to be exponentially growing
yeah,
because we can touch so many more people.
yeah.
Isn't this amazing? I just want to go back to, I mean, in my childhood, right, when I was learning to ride a bike,
Mm,
I used to fall off a lot, okay? But my friends were there saying, "Come on, Deborah, we want to go out on our bikes." And I'm like, "I've got to do this thing, got to ride this bike because otherwise I can't be out with my friends." And you know what? I failed and I failed and I failed. And I've never been a
mm,
great bike rider. I always had a bit of a
oh,
wobbly bike, etc. But
mm,
ultimately, I rode my bike to the best of my ability, to the best of that, so I could be out with my friends, enjoying the
yeah.
thing and what have you, and going out and having camp together and all that kind of stuff. Because I desperately had this purpose. I wanted to be with my friends. I wanted to enjoy myself, and they could all ride their bikes. And if I couldn't join in. And that was big
Oh,
enough why for me to keep
mm,
falling off, to bruise my elbow, to get hit my nose. I remember I fell off. This was the days before the helmets, etc.
yeah.
Uh, uh, um, a road had just been covered with all that grit, when they recover roads and stuff. And
Mm,
I
mm,
anyway, I fell off on that. It stuck in my arm and it was horrible. But did that put me off doing that bike to the point where I got to a stage where I could be with my friends, we could ride
yeah.
our bikes together, we could talk to each other while we were riding our bikes. It felt kind of normal. As I said, never been a brilliant bike rider, but I did it. That I never once, thinking back, I never once thought as a child, I
Mm,
failed, I'm not going to do it.
mm,
Because
mm.
the alternative was to be stuck in my bedroom, which I didn't want,
Look
and
at it.
I couldn't enjoy the time out with my friends.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think of it as almost, and people go, yeah, well, when you're an adult, you've got much bigger problems than falling off a bike. Yeah, I
Mm,
get it. But the principle is such that sometimes we just need to keep falling off our metaphorical bikes and getting back up again and dusting ourselves down and putting a sticking plaster on it,
absolutely.
etc. Because that is going to get us to where we should be,
Absolutely.
where a calling from God has been,
Yeah.
etc. And life then becomes this amazing experience
Isn't it?
because we're,
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
broadening it out to enjoy
Yeah.
an adult playground
Yeah,
in
I
that
think I
sense.
take three things away from what you've just said right now. Three things from that story you shared. First of all, it was your childlike mindset was focusing
Mhm.
on what you wanted to do. It was the childlike mindset. And second one was that you kept focusing on what you wanted. I want to be with my friends. I want to be with my friends. You had a purpose, a
Yeah.
clear intention, and you were really religious to that intention. And the third one was the fact that you said something around always you don't want to be in bed, which means you're looking at the cost of not taking action.
Ah,
The
yeah.
cost of not taking action. If we're really thinking about what we lose when we don't take actions, then you see that the cost is bigger because then you're alone, you're lonely, you're missing out on the friendship, the socialization, the outdoor. So when you think about that, those three things are staying with me from this conversation as well. To always keep a childlike mindset, to focus on what you want and be clear on the intention. And of course, the third one is always look back at what do I stand to lose if I don't take action. Those are really powerful things I'm taking away from that
I've
story.
learned so I haven't thought of that third one.
Mm,
And you've taught me something, Shakira, and thank you. What do I lose by not doing this?
mm, It's a powerful thing.
What do I lose by not doing this?
Mm, mm,
I love that. I thank you. I'm going to write
yeah.
this down. What do
Yes,
I
please do.
lose?
Yeah, it's a cost of inaction. It's always bigger than the cost of the fear itself. Because you're scared of, you don't want to do this or you don't want to do that. You're thinking about how big or how
Yeah.
problematic or how serious it's going to be to do it. What about what you lose when you don't do it? When I don't take care of myself, what do I tend to lose? When I don't show up, what do I tend to lose? When I don't think about growth, what do I tend to lose? What am I losing? We're losing a lot of things when we don't take the right actions.
And the other thing is as well, because our lives are, we meeting 68,000 odd people,
Mm,
our lives, by not doing something, if we'd have done it, it could have put us in a circumstances or place
absolutely.
to meet somebody else where it could have been a big business deal,
Yeah,
it could have been the love of your life,
yeah,
it could have been a relationship which would last as a friendship for the rest of
absolutely. That is
time.
correct.
It could have been anything, or it could
Mhm.
have saved your life.
You
You know,
Yeah,
as
you're
as you say, if
right.
you don't learn to swim
One
and
of
you
the
fall in
things
the
that,
water,
yeah, one of the things that you said now about saving life really resonated with me. When I burnt out, the last time I burnt, because there was a couple of times I burnt out, but the last time, which is going to remain as the last, because I'm really very intentional about the things I'm
well,
doing.
you learn
Yeah,
from your failure, you
yeah. The
learn, you
last
put
thing
it
you
into
said
practice.
that is really giving me that is bringing a reminder to me was how did I get diagnosed of general anxiety disorder, which was what you know was very well what I was very particular about that for my last burnout. I was taken to different hospitals when I started feeling ill, started feeling tired, exhausted, palpitation, couldn't sleep, withdrawn from relationship, friends, family, and business. I wanted to take my own life when I stopped sleeping because it was very uncomfortable for you not to be able to sleep. Oh my God, sleep is underrated. It
Mm.
was very uncomfortable. And it got to a point where I thought I'll just end my life because it looks like sleep was a simple thing, isn't it? But it wasn't happening for me and for a long time. And so I was taken to hospitals for diagnosis, and I wasn't diagnosed of anything particularly, and I didn't feel any better. And I had to visit a lot of doctors before I then went back home to my home country, visiting churches and mosques and spending time there, doing prayers and all of that. And it still didn't work out because the diagnosis was yet to be there.
Mm.
Until a doctor, my psychiatrist, diagnosed me of general anxiety disorder. Until that time, did I really start focusing on what is general anxiety disorder? Why do I have it? Where is it coming from? How can I avoid it? And that is what opened up the true me, my
The
true
curiosity,
the
Shakira. It's the
curiosity.
curiosity about what
Yeah.
your
And I
adversity,
started
your challenge.
and I started answering these questions. And it pushed me to closing up on all other businesses. Because I had family businesses I was overseeing and directing. I had personal businesses that I also working on. And I just shut out myself out of that and focused on who am I? That was where the answer came about. What do I have to offer this world? And it was an answer around, oh, what are the things I love? What do I enjoy? What's the bigger picture for me? And meeting, going through that issue and that adversity really helps me found these answers. And you said something about if we change and we do the things we're meant to do, you then pass that on to everyone you interact with, isn't it? If my psychiatrist has not been diligent and religious with being such a wonderful psychiatrist to learn to develop himself, would I have found my healing just in time? Because it became very stressful to be diagnosed. It became very stressful to know what I was going through. And in Africa, which is still there today, Many people, when we're not diagnosed, we then think it's spiritual attack.
Mm,
And then
mm.
we begin to look elsewhere rather than taming the real problem. So we really need to find ourselves because a lot of people are going to benefit from that.
Well, I love it. Thank you for being so open and so honest with what happened to you.
Yeah.
And that is showing your vulnerability,
Mm,
your strength, because it takes a lot to be open in a forum like this where you know that, many people are going to be watching or
mm,
listening,
yeah.
and to show your vulnerability. But thank you, because the one thing is that I know from my personal thing, I was going to take my own life as well,
Mm,
because I'd reached the end as I
yeah.
thought. But what I'd reached was the beginning. I'd reached the beginning of me,
Mm,
the true
mm,
me. And I wouldn't swap anything that's happened to me, even the worst things in my life,
mm,
because I know that I am here because of what went before.
mm,
And so, what I would love to say to the audience and to the listeners, this is a very serious topic, but also it's one which, when you're healed from this, that you can talk with a sense of warmth about the fact that, what, there was a purpose to it all.
yeah.
There was a reason why, because it can change your life. And I
Yeah.
don't know about you, but mine kind of happened pretty quickly once
Mm.
I got that initial, whoa, my goodness me,
Awakening. It's an
awake.
awakening, isn't?
Thank you. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
also, God
sweet.
came into my life, but if you don't believe in that, that's fine. But God came into, I allowed God in.
Yeah.
And within that moment, my life
Mm,
changed forever.
mm, I'm happy you found God. It's amazing. Well, some people call it different names. It's just that
Absolutely.
higher power for you to know that there's something higher and it's speaking to you, and you've got to listen and take instruction. It's actually
Mm,
very phenomenal.
it
People
truly
aren't
is.
listening, and those that are listening aren't taking instruction. So it's about you, first of all, encountering God. And then, secondly, listen. Because as we're praying, we're getting answers and responses through our intuition. We need to silence our mind and listen to the call. And then, when you get the silence and you listen, take the actions, take the instructions seriously. So it all boils down to us. How ready are we?
Beautiful, Shakira, just beautiful. And thank you so much. I mean, what a delight. What an amazing
Yeah,
guest you are. What a wonderful
thank
person.
you.
Heart-centered leader. You've been
Thank you.
mom and wife and all of these wonderful things. You have business, you have so many interests, you're helping so many people, you're serving so many people. But the wonderful thing is you are you.
Absolutely.
You
Thank you.
are
I love that.
you. You are
Mm,
you. The miracle that is Shakirat. You are you.
yeah.
And I love that. I love you. This is it. I
Thank you.
love the you that you are,
Thank
because,
you.
I resonate with so much, well, all of what you've said.
Mm,
I truly do. It's been fabulous to have you on the show. Thank you so much.
thank you. Yeah. Thank you very much.
And how can people get hold of you?
Best way to get hold of me. There are quite a number of ways, but I don't know. Best way would be either email connects at a bettermecoaching.com. That is my email, and my website as well, a bettermecoaching.com. That's where we do the works to support entrepreneurs, individuals, and even teams to grow, to find themselves, like you said, to be you. Absolutely be you. And then you can carry that to any other area of your life. My biggest belief is when you develop, everything that you touch develops. Everything develops. Everything, parenting, finances, business, everything just changes. It just grows. So contact me by sending me an email would be good. Connect at a bettermecoaching.com. And I'm also on social media as a betterme 1906 on Instagram or on LinkedIn, Sakirat Okewole. That is my LinkedIn. Um,
Beautiful. And we'll put all the details on the show notes as well for people, so
yeah,
that when it's uploaded, it's there. But
mm,
do be in touch with Shakira. And I've just had a thought, which I will say.
yeah.
you know how there's a thing called the Midas touch, that
Mm,
everything you
touch
touch
turns into
turns to
gold.
gold.
Yeah.
And what you've just said there is everything you touch then benefits from that beingness of you.
Yeah.
And, I've only just thought, I think maybe that's what they mean when everything turns to gold,
Mm, mm-hmm.
is that when you touch it with that spirit, with what you're doing,
Yeah.
then it goes into everything else
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
create this miracle around you. So the more I'm talking to you, the more the light bulbs are
Yeah.
firing off.
Yeah, which is
It's
one of the things I
wonderful.
really think I have as a gift. I've really seen that when I come in contact with people, we have conversations. I do know it brings awakening, and I'm holding on to that power. Before, I don't like to speak about it. I dim the light, thinking, oh, how will people feel? I shrink. No, it's my superpower. And it's going to be blasphemy on my creator. It's going to be diminishing or, disrespecting myself and my creator if I don't shine light on those things. I really think is a strong point for me.
Wonderful. And there we will leave the shows. Thank you again. And to everybody listening, let's shine our lights.
Yeah,
Let's get them big and bright and
absolutely.
colorful and
Color,
radiant and warm and inviting, so that
absolutely.
we can go in and we can have this childlike curiosity, as Sakirat says, and it's okay to fail, everybody. It's
Hmm.
okay not to get it right.
Mm,
It's one foot after the other.
yeah,
Little steps make a whole journey, and
absolutely.
nobody has got it right every single
Mm-mm.
step of the way, and that's the thing. The travesty is when we don't put ourselves in the position to fail because our fears stop us from
Mm,
getting out of our bedrooms, as it
mm-hmm.
were, getting out
Mm-hmm.
of bed and experiencing the world for what it is.
Yeah, yeah,
So I think this is a beautiful message to
yeah,
people
yeah,
with.
yeah. And finally, my words out there is your life is a blessing. Your life is a blessing. So I want everyone listening to hold on to that. My life is a blessing.
My life is a blessing. Amen to that.
Amen.
Oh,
Yeah,
beautiful. I can feel the energy. I
yeah,
don't know about you, Shakira, but I could
yeah,
just woof, it's great,
yeah, yeah.
fabulous. Oh, wonderful. So everybody, thank you so much again for listening and showing your support. It is truly, truly appreciated. And for anybody new that's found us, welcome. It's wonderful to have you. It's always great to be here and speaking to such a wonderful audience and community. So until next time, everybody, be successful and see you all again very soon. Bye bye now.